Here at Fargo with Tervel Dlagnev. Tervel, thanks for your time, first of all. You are helping out Team USA, but you help Team USA and kids from Nebraska just in general anyway. Why here? Why kind of give back a little bit with your time?
This is kind of the pinnacle of the summer, I think, for a lot of the kids in the club, in the state, in the country. And so obviously it's a two-prong. It's nice to see, from one side of it, just on the scene, the recruiting piece of it. So get to know these kids, get to see their routines on the grassroots. And on the other side is just, be here and support the guys you've been kind of helping all year and the culmination of their summer. Mm-hmm.
So you've been all around the place. You've trained some of the best in the world. Kyle Snyder, he's kind of okay, I guess. What brought you back to Nebraska?
It was a family decision. That's where my wife is from. And we just, at some point, we knew we were going to try to get back to this region of the country. And so obviously the volatility of my work, you can't always just choose where you go or the availability. But when the position opened and it was available, it was kind of a no-brainer for us. It was time to get back home.
Back to the University of Nebraska, helping them with the training center. How's that going? Kind of a new adventure, right?
Yeah, it's going really well. I really enjoy. We have a really fun staff to work with. Our team right now is one of my favorite teams I've ever been a part of. There's just a lot of gratitude, a lot of wrestle heads, a lot of learning. They love each other. So the culture right now is pretty fun to be a part of. And I look forward to seeing those guys get into, go from the college ranks to the international ranks and see what they can do.
Do you still keep in touch over at UNK and give Coach Dalton Jensen a hard time?
Absolutely, absolutely. No, I'm a big fan of those guys. I love Carney. I tell everyone if Carney had the means to keep me around afterwards, and I would have just trained in Carney, I'd have never left. So I love Carney, love UNK. So I'm always watching those guys, seeing how they're doing. So big fan.
Your experience, right? You've wrestled some of the best in the world ever in your life. Is there one kind of memory? What's the best memory that stands out to you?
Gosh, that'd be tough. Like right out the gates, just emotionally, it was probably my first world team, right? I had I tell these guys a lot. It's like, the cliches sometimes is, I've trained and so hard that I know I'm going to win, and you come in here with this extreme amount of belief, but that's just not the case. It's sometimes hard to believe you can do something until you do it. Mm-hmm. And so that was kind of the case with my first world team. I had no intention of winning. I made the finals and I was very satisfied with being second, and somehow I pulled it off. And so I was pretty, emotionally, I remember that was one of the most charged up moments of my wrestling career.
So, what's your mindset then when you're lining up against guys like Steve Mocco and then, Les Sigmund, a guy that you'd had some trouble with in college?
Yeah, like I said, it's you do your best to remind yourself that it's just wrestling and, go see if you can execute your moves. And if you can't, the world's not over. And if you can, great. But it's worth the fight. And you go out there and you battle. And hopefully your training and your skills have been honed enough to produce scoring and produce the result you want. But getting yourself to not hold anything back and all that stuff, just, that's a part of the sport. That's everyone's battle, right? Everyone has always something in the tank that they're not willing to relinquish. So just getting that last little bit out and performing well is a big piece of it.
And last one, maybe here, that you're in charge of the Nebraska Wrestling Training Center. Walk us through that for those that might not know what that is. What's the goal?
The Nebraska Wrestling Training Center is a nonprofit 501c3 that is completely separate from the university, but we fundraise money so that men can pursue their World Olympic dreams full time. They don't have to have a job. We pay them monthly to sit there, train. They'll use the resources that we have at the university, their training room, the partners, the weight room, but they will not, they have no other tie to the university. So yeah, that was how we were able to keep Jordan Burroughs and James Green around for a decade. And those guys went on to do great things. And so that's the plan, is where we just want to see Huskers. Yeah, I mean, you only have 4 or 5 years with these guys.
Right.
So you want them to, by the time you hone them into, great leaders, they leave.
Mm-hmm.
So this is a good way to keep your leaders and the wisdom of the 5 years of a culminated career back and sticking around. And that's how they give back. They help the young guys being around them. They're kind of their role models. And so it's kind of a good feedback loop. So, but the goal is for them to be, to achieve their dreams.
Awesome. Thanks, man. Appreciate it.
A Hurrdat Sports Network production.